It's D-U-E-U tell I see you by this point. You're reading my mind. It's time for football. We about to keep this thing moving. I'm about it, you're with it. Let's do it. We gon' make this thing official. You heard me? If you're the best, then let's prove it. The goal is set to have a team become a unit. Man, we about to keep this thing moving. I'm about it, you're with it. Let's do it. We gon' make this thing official. You heard me? If you're the best, then let's prove it. The goal is set to have a team become a unit. Yeah.
Welcome to Football Game Plan's NFL All 32 show. I am Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook, and today we will only talk Baltimore Ravens as we start to preview the upcoming 2021 NFL season. We'll take a look at some training camp quick hits, some reasons for optimism, as well as some causes for concern, in addition to our positional breakdowns on both sides of the ball. But first, let's take a look at some of the key storylines heading into the Ravens season as we go into our 4-minute offense. The Ravens heard the noise, they read the tweets, they saw all of the debate shows, and went out this offseason to do something about it. I'm talking about the receiving core. It's not that they haven't tried to add talent there. Hell, just last year they brought in Devin Duvernay, James Prochet to team up with 2019 draft picks Hollywood Brown and Miles Boykin. This year they signed Sammy Watkins and drafted both Rashad Bateman in the first round and Tylan Wallace out of Oklahoma State in round 4. To me, all of those names, including tight end Mark Andrews, is a very promising group of pass catchers. The question now turns to offensive coordinator Greg Roman and if he'll dial up more opportunities to get these guys more involved within the offense. Speaking of the offensive side of the ball, we also saw more additions up front along the offensive line. Baltimore needed to find a replacement for the departed Orlando Brown and went out and grabbed former Pittsburgh Steelers tackle Alejandro Villanueva in free agency. They also signed free agent guard Kevin Zeitler from the New York Giants. Both are slated to be starters, and in the draft, the selection of the massive guard Ben Cleveland in the 3rd round out of Georgia potentially gives them another new starter along an offensive line that saw some reshuffling last year due to injuries. We'll see if those new additions can keep this offense humming along as one of the top in the NFL. Baltimore is one of the few franchises in the NFL that have the expectation of making the playoffs. And with that being said, they want to lead with that focus heading into the 2021 season. The last 3 trips have ended sourly for the Ravens, and each time over the last 3 exits, they've attacked that subsequent offseason with that focal point in mind of righting some wrongs in the postseason. What tweaks and changes made to fix those problems that led to those exits will be what we watch for this upcoming year. In order for a deep playoff run to happen, the Ravens will be looking towards some second-year players to have big-time, impactful seasons. Running back J.K. Dobbins, defensive lineman Justin Madubuike, and linebacker Malik Harrison will be expected to step into some pivotal roles this upcoming year. Dobbins and Harrison as full-time starters, with Madubuike as a significant contributor in rotation along that defensive line. Now, the expectation is that the seasoning that they obtained last year will help them hit the ground running this season in 2021. And if that's the case, the Ravens could be even better on both sides of the ball. Lamar Jackson has been everything the Ravens could have hoped for when they drafted him back in the first round in 2018. He's been one of the league's best and most dominant players as well. However, there are always an abundance of smart dummies out there that try to disparage, overly dissect, or willingly ignore his impact on the game and quickly praise others for doing the bare minimum at the position. So for all those folks out there that love to play dumb on purpose and maybe are more visual learners than auditory ones, here's a graphic laying out how impactful number 8 has been since entering the NFL. If Lamar Jackson isn't in your top 6 or top 7 quarterbacks in football, then your entire list is trash. What many of these smart dummies fail to realize is that Lamar is 99% the best player on the field against any opponent, and that alone will give you a chance to win the majority of the games that you play in, just like he has over the course of his career, boasting a 30-7 career record. But what about the playoff wins and Super Bowls, Emery? Cool, let's just keep that same energy for all of those other quarterbacks that don't have nearly the resume, nor the playoff appearances, nor the unanimous MVP award that Lamar Jackson does. Now, back to the rest of the depth chart. The Ravens showed last year that they have some young talent developing behind their young phenom franchise quarterback in Lamar Jackson and Trace McSorley and Tyler Huntley. Both backups are athletic, they are fearless, and they are able to make plays off script in both the passing game as well as on the ground. J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards give the Ravens a potent 1-2 punch in the backfield. That's the perfect blend of explosiveness and power. Expect Dobbins to easily crack the 1,000-yard barrier this season, while Edwards should continue to live in that 600 to 750-yard range, with Dobbins expected to be the lead dog right out of the gate. In this offense, with his explosiveness, it gives Baltimore the threat of the home run or chunk play with each and every carry. Baltimore also has two legitimate good fullbacks in Pat Ricard and fifth-round pick Ben Mason. Ricard is coming off of a Pro Bowl season, and Mason was the top fullback in this year's draft class. This unit will have all of the eyes on them this upcoming season, especially considering the amount of talent they've added to the position this offseason. Of course, you hope that Sammy Watkins can stay healthy for a full year, taking some of the pressure off of Hollywood Brown. And you also hope that Brown can take a significant step forward this season from a consistency standpoint, which would then take some of the pressure off of rookie first-round pick Rashad Bateman, who is expected to come in and start on the outside. Now, on paper, this trio looks fantastic, but how it all comes together will be the key. Depth-wise, they are solid, in my opinion, with Miles Boykin, James Prochet, Devin Duvernay, and the rookie fourth-round pick Tylan Wallace. Again, it's not about the lack of talent here, more so than it is about the usage and opening up the offense. The Ravens have more than enough speed and playmaking ability here within the depth chart to be better than a 32nd ranked passing offense. Tight end Mark Andrews continued to be a consistent threat on game day as he finished second on the team in receiving yards as well as touchdowns. And I don't envision his role changing at all one bit, as he will also factor into the offensive game plan always. Getting Nick Boyle back healthy just bolsters the unit on both ends of offense. Keep an eye out for Josh Oliver, who they acquired via trade this offseason from Jacksonville. I liked his ability to get down the field coming out of San Jose State and had a really good week of work at the Senior Bowl that year. He gives them another viable receiving option at the position. Welcoming back offensive tackle Ryan Stanley from injury already makes this group better than it was last season. He only played in 6 games before going down with a season-ending injury, which started the reshuffling up front. Baltimore leaned on some young reserves in Ben Powers, Tyree Phillips, and Patrick McCarry up front as they held up pretty well, which just strengthens the depth here heading into the season. Even 2020 undrafted rookie free agent Tristan Colon Castillo got a few starts and played well in my opinion. So we spoke about earlier adding veterans in Kevin Zeitler and Alejandro Villanueva and how that helps stabilize the right side of the offensive line. To me, that just puts the focus on the left guard and center position. Bradley Bozeman was strong last season for the Ravens and has the versatility to play a couple of spots up front. Now, he'll compete with stellar rookie Ben Cleveland for the left guard job while also competing with Patrick McCarry for the job at center. Either way, the Ravens are in fantastic shape here in my opinion, and they also get former first-round pick Andre Smith back this year as he was a COVID-19 opt-out last season, just providing that quality swing depth along the offensive line. The Ravens were strong up front defensively last season, thanks in part to the acquisitions of Calais Campbell and Derek Wolfe. Both came over last year and almost immediately paid dividends up front, combining with nose tackle Brandon Williams, just giving the Ravens a very stout defensive line. What's impressive is the rotational depth here with second-year players Justin Madubuike and Broderick Washington. Both guys garnered valuable minutes last year and figure to have their roles increased in 2021. Justin Ellis was also huge for them as well, especially in the run game. While the linebacking core has some talent within it, there are some slight questions heading into the season. Gone is Yannick Ngakoue and Matt Judon, their 2 top sack leaders from last year, and the Ravens will look toward Jalen Ferguson and Tyus Bowser to be those frontline starters this season to pick up the baton and run with it. Now, Bowser has shown to be an impactful player in the passing game, and while Ferguson has been okay, they need for him to step into that impactful category as well. Longtime veteran Pernell McPhee was brought back once again this season as a veteran presence up front. The club is really excited about 2 rookies in first-round pick Odafe Owe out of Penn State and Dalen Hayes out of Notre Dame. Now, Owe has a long, lengthy athletic frame that you want with the upside that you covet. He just has to put it all together on a consistent basis. And Hayes is more along the lines of Bowser, in my opinion, in the sense that he's a terrific blitzer and always finds a way to make plays. Now on the inside, the Ravens hope to see Patrick Queen raise his level of play this year. He led the team in tackles, but they want to see him become much more consistent in coverage. He was the target of many opposing offenses there last season. If he can make strides in that capacity, he'll end up in a Pro Bowl for sure. And I'm excited about Malik Harrison's role this year as he's slated to start opposite of Queen. He's a much more impactful run defender and has the above average instincts, in my opinion, in coverage. The Ravens got good depth here with both LJ Fort and Chris Board, both of who will see the field a lot this season. Baltimore has arguably the best secondary in the NFL. They are strong at corner with Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters. They got excellent play last year from their safeties in Chuck Clark and Deshaun Elliott, and the depth with Jimmy Smith and Anthony Averett just helps round out the core. The good news is that they will more than likely get back a healthy Tavon Young, who has been really good when he's been out there, but it's the being out there part that has hamstrung what was a promising career. Keep an eye out for both rookies, Brandon Stevens out of SMU and Shaun Wade out of Ohio State, as both guys have a chance to play a lot this year. Stevens is a former college running back turned cornerback and now will transition to safety for the Ravens. He's got really good athleticism and ball skills, while Wade will play more of a slot defender, which actually suits his skill set rather well and gives him an opportunity to get back to what he was as a prospect back in 2019. One of the biggest reasons for optimism for Baltimore this season is the fact that they have arguably the best player in football in Lamar Jackson. When this guy is out there on the field, he gives them the best chance to win each and every week. You also have to like the fact that they got serious about the passing game. We talked about what they were able to add at the receiver position this offseason with free agency and in the draft, along with what they've already added the last 2 seasons. You can be optimistic about the passing game. You also can be optimistic about the fact that they are excellent at multiple positions on the field: defensive line, secondary, offensive line, quarterback, running back. This Ravens team is built to beat you in a multitude of ways. A cause for concern would be if the emphasis on the passing game doesn't gain traction, and that's from more so of a play calling standpoint and not from a personnel standpoint. They have the pieces there to be successful. Will they call the plays to let those guys thrive? And if that offensive line reshuffling doesn't gel quick enough, we know offensive line play is about continuity. They have the talent there, but they have to find that continuity from day one all throughout the season in order for them to have the success. Let's take a look at some training camp quick hits, starting with our camp surprise offensively. I think many will be surprised at the growth from Tyler Huntley and what he was able to do from year over year. You talk about last year, got in, made some wild plays, and actually showed that he wasn't afraid to throw the football downfield in that playoff game. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people in training camp. And how about Brandon Stevens and Ardarius Washington, the undrafted rookie free agent from TCU? Both guys will surprise folks with their level of instinctual football awareness and playmaking ability on the back end. Some rookie impact players this year one, I think is going to be Ben Cleveland. I envision him starting up front and being dominant like he was in the run game at Georgia. I think this was one of the more underrated draft picks in this year's class. And defensively, I'm a big fan of Shaun Wade and his fit in Baltimore. He's going to be a slot defender. He's going to show that he's physical inside. He's a very good run defender as well as far as attacking downhill. He'll have a bounce back year, so to speak, more so than what we saw last year when he was playing outside at corner for Ohio State. So I think the fit here in Baltimore will help him have a fantastic rookie season. Looking at some X factors starting on the offensive side, I think it's Hollywood Brown more so than Rashad Bateman. Brown has to step up and become a significant presence in the passing game and become more consistent. The speed is there, the explosiveness is there, the dynamic playmaking ability is definitely there. You want to see all of those things on a more consistent basis. The same for Patrick Queen. You know about the athleticism, you know about his ability to match up versus running backs and tight ends. Can he become consistent in coverage and make those plays consistently to help turn the ball over? If he can do that, then the Ravens can go far. The breakout players are easy for me, especially on offense. Is J.K. Dobbins. You add dynamic, explosive playmaking ability alongside a quarterback in Lamar Jackson. With this run game, I would expect him to even flirt with 1,500 yards with the amount of big chunk plays we're going to see out of him. And defensively, Malik Harrison, I thought was solid last year. Look for him to take a huge step forward in becoming impactful and significant on this Ravens defense. He's going to be someone that people will talk about at the end for most improved player on this Ravens defense. The road to the Super Bowl for the Ravens goes as follows. This offense has to stay in the top 5 in rushing. I think they can do that in their sleep with the personnel that they have at their disposal. The passing game has to become top 15. Again, you don't have to be number 1. You don't have to be the Kansas City Chiefs, but you can't be 32nd in throwing the football if you want to go to the playoffs. So they get to top 15. Watch out for this offense. And the defense has to be able to turn the ball over more. They are a top 10 defense, but they are not top 10 in terms of generating turnovers. If they are able to do that and get the ball back more so for this top 5 rushing offense and potentially top 15 passing attack, then the Ravens can finally break through and get back to the Super Bowl. I have the Ravens finishing first in the AFC North. This is a football team that is beat to build you in all 3 facets. Their offense can beat you to death with their run game. Defensively, they can smother you with their run defense and their ability to cover on the perimeter. And if all things fail, they can beat you with special teams. They have the best kicker in the game, and their return game and coverage units are top tier. So the Ravens are built to not only win in the regular season, but they are also now built to win in the postseason. So that's it for this edition of Football Game Plan's NFL All 32 show. I am Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Be sure to follow me on all of my social media accounts, and don't forget to check out and subscribe to the Football Game Plan Network located at youtube.com/Football Game Plan. Also subscribe on iTunes to Football Game Plan Podcast and leave us a 5-star rating.
It's you tell I see you by this point you're reading my mind. It's time for football. We about to keep this thing moving. I'm about it, you're with it, let's do it. We gon' make this thing official, you heard me? If you're the best, then let's prove it. The goal is set to have a team become a unit, man. We about to keep this thing moving. I'm about it, you're with it, let's do it. We gon' make this thing official, you heard me? If you're the best, then let's prove it. The goal is set to have a team become a unit, yeah.